So it's Father's Day 2023. I haven't been on for a few weeks. I thought I'd do a better job at this summer, but I haven't. I'm not in any type of a schedule or routine. But I thought Father's Day I would publish one. This will say Father's Day Part 2 because I made another one that will not drop for a few years. Um, but this is my public one that I won't share as many things as I shared in the other one. I have several that the furthest date out that YouTube will allow them to drop is June 30th, 2025. If those dates change, then I may um, push them out further if I'm still around at June 30th in 2025, which is almost just over 2 years from now. Um, but the first one I made today uh, will drop then. Um, or maybe not. Maybe I'll change it. But anyway, so happy Father's Day to everybody. Um, I was going to go visit my dad's grave today in Winnetka, but I chose not to just because I thought there might be other people there today. It's a Sunday, so there would certainly would have been a church service, and he's on church grounds. His remains are on the grounds of the church where I grew up in Winnetka, and I thought my sister might show up, so I wanted to give her time, and um, and I thought it just being Father's Day, maybe some other people might show up, and I just didn't want to be there when other people are there. So I'm thinking of driving out there. Plus, it's an hour drive. It's hard to get to Winnetka from Carpentersville quickly, so I may drive out there tomorrow and spend some time at his site. Um, I watched the video I made of him though. I made a couple videos after he passed, and I watched that today. There's so many photos, especially in the second one, um, that I just look at and I'm like, you know, we look so normal. We look like a normal family, and we sure put up an image, where I grew up. My mom being from Wilmette, my dad being from Winnetka, and we lived in Glenview for most of my life. Um, we put up the front. It some of the photos are just so Norman Rockwell, and with all of us together and smiling, and then I think like, oh, so close to greatness. And but then I also find a little gratitude in there because despite a lot of the challenges that we faced, um, I did grow up in an environment that is pretty snobby, and I did have two parents who came from two good families that allowed us to have some dysfunction and still be able to hide it at times. So, um, and provided me still with some great opportunities growing up. Um, Maybe I should talk about that someday. Um, but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of wonderful opportunities when I was young. So, despite in between all of the um, sorry, what are you gonna do? Um, but in between all of the chaos and dysfunction, there were some very uh, meaningful moments in my upbringing. But anyway, I watched that and I enjoyed the pictures and some things about it. I wish there's like the first one I did and um, the last one I did. There's a couple of differences, and I kind of wish there's 3 or 4 photos in the second one that were in the last one. Um, but I'm pretty proud of it. I set the music myself, and um, uh, so I watched that a few times. I'll probably watch it again before I go to bed. Um, I didn't anticipate that the death of my dad would be lingering with me a year and a half later. Not that I didn't care the last 20 years of my dad's life were our best. So there's hope out there for anybody who's got a bad relationship with one of your parents. Um, I mean, certainly there were good moments in childhood as well, but like I said, there's a lot of obstacles that existed. But but the last 20 years, he became my closest confidant. So we had a very solid relationship the last 20 years of his life. So so yeah, I mean, it didn't mean we didn't get on each other's nerves at times, and I had to knock him in his place a few times. Not physically, of course. I have never laid hands on anyone my entire life, but sometimes where he had a temper, um, and some things in front of my kids where he just would verbally go off on some you know argumentative rant about something that I felt um, I had no problem with shutting him down, and that's growth. That's me being a man and protecting my kids from hearing things that they don't need to hear. But but it was all forgotten, and I never held on to resentments, at least towards each other, the last 20 years. So yeah. So my second Father's Day, as far as my Father's Day went, had breakfast with the older kid and the younger kids in San Antonio. So obviously I didn't see him, and went to a baseball game down in Elgin, high school baseball game. I don't know who the teams were, but Trout Park in Elgin has baseball games all the time, and sometimes in the summer I like to just go down there, and especially at night if they have a night game because it's free. And I like watching. I think the games during the week are college, and on the weekends they're high school. But I don't know. I don't know any of the teams. But just like watching that type of athletics more so than like the professional garbage. People out there doing it just because they want to and they're having fun, and it's not about money. It's fun. I've seen a couple exciting games down there this summer. So I did that. Then I went to Beef Shack for dinner. So that's my Father's Day. So if there's a point to this after 8 minutes and 42 seconds, hope you treated your fathers well today. If you haven't contacted them as of the time you view this, which it's currently 9:30 p.m. on Father's Day, but maybe you'll watch it tomorrow and be like, oh, I forgot it was Father's Day. Perhaps you could send a text, or a phone call would be even better. And let me tell you, we don't care about stuff. It's nice if you lovingly and thoughtfully go out and buy your father or mother on Mother's Day or birthday or a holiday a gift card or an item or something like that. That is just extremely, extremely cherished and thoughtful. Some of my best gifts were things my sons made for me over the years, and I just adore them. But it's not even about the stuff. No dad is like, why didn't you get me what I wanted? You might get your dad something great and they'll be very appreciative, but it's more about as I've gotten older, it's the thought that counts on everything. And it's the thought of you texting your dad and today and mom on Mother's Day and other people on whatever days, and just contacting them and showing some appreciation. Um, and if you have an unhealthy relationship with, since it's Father's Day, your father, um, and maybe understandably so, you know, my dad did a lot of things in his life that were not the best. It made it difficult at times. I mean, he's dead now, so, but struggled with a lot of addiction issues and alcoholism, and he was a bright man. He was a member of Mensa. When he worked, he made a lot of money, but there was a lot of ups and downs, and rehab after rehab after rehab after rehab after rehab, and some of the best rehabs in the country, because my grandparents could afford it. But it was up and down, and there's a lot of memories I have as a kid growing up that were not the normal things a kid sees, but in the last 20 years, like I said, he and I overcame all that. In the last 25, 26 years of his life, he was clean and sober. After all those rehabs and all that recovery and all of that struggle, eventually one day, he finally got it. And then he spent the rest of his life helping other people. He was very active in recovery in Chicago where he lived, and tons and tons and tons of people thank him for helping them crawl out of the gutter. That was his greatest accomplishment in life. But the point is, you never know when it's going to happen. For me, it didn't happen until I was in my late 20s. And then in my early 30s, he and I became, like I said, he was my most trusted confidant the last 20 years of my life. And, when I was younger, I would never have said that. So don't give up hope. So spend some time reaching out, even if it's just to say Happy Father's Day. And if you definitely have a great relationship with your dad, make sure you did, in case you forgot. That's all we care about. We just want the recognition of being remembered. It's not necessarily about any specific gift or special item. Those are great too. But it's the thought that counts. So happy Father's Day to any fathers listening to this. And I don't know, maybe I'll be back on in a couple weeks. Maybe I'll be back on tomorrow, but I doubt it. I'll probably forget. I have no idea if you've understood anything I'm saying, but this is it. So see ya.